Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany, and today we are going to start something new that I want to add to my fountain pen routine. And this is just coming from the fact that this past year in 2022, I did buy a lot of fountain pens. And I am grateful for the opportunity to do that. But I realized that the downside to buying the amount that I did is that I haven't really got to know my fountain pens well enough to really tell you how they last over time. And so I want to do better. That's one of my goals for 2023 is to buy less and to know more. So I decided to adopt the way that somewhat like what Chris Sands does with her monthly inking and what she has inked up for the month. I want to do that, and I want to just really get to know my pens and hopefully be more accountable in that sense and sharing what I know with you. So to start off, I'm using the 400-page notebook. I got this from Atlas Stationers, and this is the Odyssey Notebook. This is in the black cover with, I think this is the moon logo. They have different astral, different images on the books. It is a hardcover, and there's 400 pages of Tomoe River amazing beautifulness in this notebook. And this, I think, is a 68 GSM because it doesn't have a lot of shadowing. And I wasn't really sure how I wanted to use this, so I've been saving it up for a few months. And now I've decided I will make this more of an ink journal and more of a fountain pen accountability with YouTube. So I did do some tests, and I thought I was just going to use this to sample all my inks like that I have in my collection. But then I thought, well, that's just kind of a waste of paper. So rather than going into that, I am just going to use it more for what I have inked up and then my thoughts at the end of the month. So just to show you the ghosting and what happens on the other page, it doesn't really have as much ghosting as the 52 GSM, and the paper is a lot thicker, not super thick, but you know, it's not as crinkly and crumply as the 52 GSM. And then some inks will, if you use too much in one spot, can bleed through a little bit. And that seems to be true for the Yomogi and the Kikyu, which are two of my favorite types of blues. And anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you. So today we're going to get started with January and the pens that I've inked up to use for the month of January, and the inks I'm going to be using with those pens. So these inks are in no way planned out. They were just kind of like what I wanted to use and what kind of fit the pen. Most of these inks I haven't used for more than maybe a couple times in random pens here and there. So really, for me, I don't know much about how the ink performs over time as it's sitting in a pen. So that's some of the things I will be looking at throughout the month. So let's see, I think I just scratched this with my ring. Oh well. So this is the Galen leather, and this is in like the golden color. It wasn't the undyed, it's the new color that they came out with last year. And it has gotten a beating, but it's still aging really nicely. So I actually have 7 pens in here. I'm able to put a pen, a smaller pen, on top. And it actually fits really well. It doesn't interfere with the closure, and it works. Actually, I haven't done this before until today, and I was like, oh, that's cool that it fits there. As I was just resting it here, and then I closed it, and it just works. So a little trick for you. So let's get started. I not only want to show you the ink in the pen, but also show you the ink and what it looks like in the bottle. So let's get started in no particular order. I'm going to start off with this ink. This is actually a new to me ink, one of my newest inks in my collection, and it is the Sketch ink by Roher and Klinger. It is meant to be permanent or water resistant, and so I decided to put it in a pen that wasn't very expensive, just in case with the amount of pens I have inked up this month, that it will be, you know, in the event that it does kind of doesn't get used as much, and somehow harms my pen because it's water resistant, that I'm not losing out on a lot of money, because these Pilot Pereras aren't as expensive as some of my other pens. Alright, so the ink bottle kind of shocked me at first because it looks really thick and brown, even though the color should be similar to the color of the girl's dress. So I have this in the Pilot Perera. I picked this pen because I do like to use this. It's very comfortable for me, and it writes really well. This is in, I think it's in the Fine. Yes. And then I'll write Sketch. Sketch ink. Roher and Klinger. The color is Jewel or Julie. I think the thing I love the most about the Pilot Perera is that the nib doesn't give, and it's like a hard nib. So no matter how hard I press, I'm still getting even lines. And I'm not quite sure, I mean, it writes reverse, but it's very scratchy. And then it's just a push top, so really comfortable like that. So this is the ink. It's kind of like a brown pink. And I think it's really pretty. I'm actually surprised at how much I like this color. Okay, so next we're gonna go with Scribo. So Scribo inks come in this big box, and that's because they have a big glass bottle. They also have a nice leather pull tag on the box, so I feel like the boxes are worth keeping if you have the space to store them. So these bottles are able to sit on top of each other as they have this opening for another bottle of this that is the same, and you can stack them. So this is actually my first Scrivo ink, and I have two now, but this was the first one I purchased. And it has really pretty shading properties, which I'm not sure you'll be able to see in this swatch, but I'm pretty positive you'll be able to see it with the pen. So it's like a deep green turquoise. And I decided to put it in my Leonardo Momento Magico in the emerald gold. And this is also a fine nib, but writes a little bit differently in the Pilot Perera. This is one of my favorite models of Leonardo because it has the ink window, and I think it's just so pretty, and I love the bands around the ink window. Okay, we have fine. And I'm going to include the name, the color. No, I'm not going to include the color. I want to make sure everything is about the same. Maybe I'll put color at the bottom. So the ink is Scribo. Verde. Mediterraneo. And then my pen is the emerald gold. Little gold trim. And this line is a lot fatter. And it does write really smooth in reverse. So I'm excited for this. I have written with this one maybe once before, but not for a long period of time. Let's go with this one, Ferris Wheel Press. And of course, Ferris Wheel Press is known for their amazing packaging and design. And this is the smaller bottle. In fact, I don't have any of the Ferris Wheel Press larger round bottles, although I would like to get some. Some people say they have trouble with the insert that's in the cap. Most of the cases, mine stays in the cap, and it doesn't, I don't have to use my fingers to pull it off. Okay, so this is a deep purple. And I think so far, these colors go really well together. That wasn't planned. I just kind of picked colors that I haven't used in a while. And so the pen I decided to put this in is the Hardy Penwrights 28 Crowe. And this one is called the English Garden Body. I actually don't have the original nib inside this pen. I decided to switch it out with a Franklin Christoph, and this is in the medium cursive italic. And then the ink is Ferris wheel press, and it's grape, ice, pop. And then the body is English, garden, and my Franklin Christoph special nibs are always write really well. And I don't have any other special grinds other than Franklin Christoph nibs. And that's just because they're easily accessible and you can just buy them off of their website. This writes in reverse really well. And I'm excited to use this one. Next is the Vert Degree by Herbin. And this was an Amazon purchase. And I wanted like a gray blue ink. And I think I got it. It just kind of depends on the paper and the nib. So on cream paper, it definitely doesn't look like this color. But this is the kind of blue-gray I was really hoping for. Now the pen I put it in is my Scribo Feel in the gray-blue color. You may have seen this in one of my later videos recently, but I wanted to continue to use this into 2023. It's hard for me to talk and write at the same time, but one thing I've noticed about this pen, and I don't know if it's just this ink, is that sometimes there's hard starts. I don't know if it's just this ink because it's super lubricated or something, but I've been getting hard starts with this pen and ink combination. I wonder if it will continue or if it just happens because I haven't been writing with the pen for a while. But it shows some really awesome shading. I can do reverse writing. There's a tad bit of a scratch, like a little bit of a scratch, but it still like keeps up and it writes enough to be legible. Next is Iroshizuku Kujaku. And I love these bottles. I love the packaging. But the bottles are just so beautiful. I have yet to empty a full bottle of Iroshizuku. But the nice thing about Iroshizuku is that they are very lubricated and definitely a go-to when I feel like my pen might feel dry or is not writing as well, or if I want to determine if it's going to write well, I will use a really good ink like Iroshizuku. Because if it can't work with Iroshizuku, most likely there's something wrong with the pen. So this is like a brighter turquoise, and I have it inked up with my Momento Zero Perera, which was in my latest video. And this is an extra fine, and I have grown to love the way that this ink performs in this pen. And I did that wrong. Oh well. So on this paper, it does feel a little bit scratchy, just a tad. I don't know if it's just because it's a thicker paper. On the 52 GSM, it doesn't have that feeling at all. This is the Perera with the gold trim. Okay, so I completely messed this one up. Leonardo Momento Zero, and the color is Perera in the extra fine. It writes really well, actually really smooth in reverse, but that's like an extra fine. So will I ever need that? No. But again, this pen is just gorgeous. So my next ink is Diatramentus Document Ink Brown. And actually I've decided to have this to be my main ink for my planner and for my Sterling ink planner. So that's what I'm using with this next pen, and I like the way it looks. It's permanent ink as well, so water resistant and should last a long time. I've decided to put it in my Platinum 3776 in the Chenonceau. And this is in the fine, I think. Yes. And then the ink is the Diatramentus Document Ink Brown. And this is in the color Chenonceau. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. And I like, or actually love, Platinum 3776 nibs. Actually, I love all Platinum nibs. because they are so reliable. And the ones I get aren't any of the soft, because I like my lines to be not so different. I want them to be the same. And so, yeah, I really like my platinums. Okay, so last ink pairing is this one, which is kind of a shocker. It is the Muddy Sands by Robert Oster. And I did not like this ink when I first swatched it. And it's in one of my videos. I think it's because it's too much of a warm ink. I do like the platinum in comparison because the platinum is a little bit cooler to me than this muddy brown, right? Muddy Sand. So I have that in my last pen, and I know it's not going to show accurately because I forgot to clean the nib before I inked it. And I just actually use a syringe to fill the cartridge because I don't have a converter for this pen. But this pen is so cute. I just like the style. I did have issues with the nib at the very beginning. It might not write like how I want it to, but I will dip it to get it going. So it's the Coeco Student. This is in the extra fine. And it's actually quite lighter than I expected in this nib. This is Robert Oster. Muddy Sand. And I don't know if this is the jazz color with the yellow, with the green, but I'm just going to keep it blank until I can look that up. I don't think it's going to work really well. Oh, it doesn't work. It's not too bad. It's not too scratchy in reverse. But extra fine, again, you can kind of tell, see a little bit of the correlation between them. I don't have many pens over, do I have any mediums? I don't have, oh, I have one medium, but everything else is a fine or extra fine. This is also a fine. Nope, this is a, goodness gracious, this is a medium. Could this be any worse? Okay, that's a medium nib. So a couple mediums, but everything else is fine. And that's just because I need to start off strong in my planners. These are the pens I'm going to be writing with throughout the year and or throughout the month of January. And so I really want to start off strong and use them for my planners. So I need fine or extra fine just so that they can write in the small spaces that I have in my planners. So here's the inks. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.